I think it's safe to say that the fans have more than a few issues with these new movies. Whether it's the blatant ripoff of A New Hope, the subversion of expectations, or the main characters that aren't even as interesting as the background characters in Jabba's palace. I think everyone that has a channel has dissected and critiqued these new movies enough, but today, I'm gonna make The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi not only make perfect sense, but I'm gonna actually make you enjoy these movies. Now, I know this isn't what the writers at Disney intended, they aren't this creative, but I'm gonna do what I always do here. I'm gonna find flaws and plot holes, and fill them with logical explanations. What if I told you that Rey, from the first moment we meet her, was a member of the Knights of Ren and sent to Jakku as a spy? The Resistance gave a person that they just met the very thing the First Order started a war for. A girl with no friends, no family, and no one to verify her backstory. I like to play chess, and sometimes it's necessary to sacrifice a major piece in order to gain a better position on the board. I thought, how genius would it be to sacrifice Starkiller Base just to gain the trust of the Resistance and have them give up the map without a fight? Rey is conveniently within walking distance from a Resistance base. She's also right next to a ship that could attract a person that might know how to find Luke. It's strange that she knows all the details about the ship.
This is a Millennium Falcon. You're Han Solo that made the Kessel Run in 14 parsecs.
But didn't recognize that the Millennium Falcon was sitting right there the whole time. We're supposed to believe that Rey is an orphan scavenger waiting for her parents to return. But Rey is really a sleeper agent. A sleeper agent is a spy that's placed in a target country or an organization, not to undertake an immediate mission, but to act as a potential asset if activated. Rey is a sleeper agent that's been awakened. The marks on the wall, the scavenging, the waiting for her parents to return, it's all just a story she made up. I pointed out in this video that it's strange that Rey and Unkar Plutt don't have a relationship, considering he was the one that Rey was left with as a 5-year-old kid. They act like they don't know each other because they don't know each other. Rey hasn't been on Jakku for very long and none of her backstory is real. It's not like there aren't spies and people pretending to be other people throughout these movies. Snoke personally trained the Knights of Ren, but these aren't the students who left Luke's academy. These were already a group before Kylo even turned to the dark side. Each Force user has a specific Force power that they're really strong in. Vader's Force Choke, Kylo's Force Freeze, Palpatine's Force Lightning. Even Darth Plagueis can manipulate midichlorians. Rey is a Jedi hunter who's attracted to light side energy. Now, this isn't to say that any other Force user can't have this power, it just means that Rey is especially good at using the skill. This is why she senses the map that BB-8 had. This is why she senses Luke's lightsaber. This is why she senses the ancient Jedi text, and this is why Snoke sent her on a mission to find Luke. Pay attention to how Rey acts when she's not around Resistance members. She's noticeably more aggressive and Sith-like. We first meet Rey posing as an orphan scavenger living alone on Jakku. She's going on with her normal daily routine when, suddenly, she feels a strong light side energy. She doesn't know it, but she's attracted to the map. But when she learns that BB-8 is part of the Resistance, she tries to gain his trust and become his friend. This is why she doesn't sell BB-8 to Unkar. She's hoping that he leads her to the Resistance, and ultimately to Luke. Meanwhile, Captain Phasma gives Finn a dangerous secret mission. She gives him a clean outfit, and tells him to help Poe escape so they can follow him back to the Resistance base.
Why are you helping me?
Remember, Kylo saw BB-8 in Poe's mind, and he just leaves him alone for no real reason. And then, a stormtrooper suddenly decides to escape and take Poe with him. Finn crashes on Jakku and immediately starts posing as a Resistance member, just like a spy would do.
I am with the Resistance.
If you were trying to run away from the First Order, why would you pose as someone that they were fighting against? Wouldn't posing as a normal person make it easier to escape? Maybe not. He is like one of the only 5 black people in the galaxy. They probably find him pretty easy anyway.
We got him.
Finn spots BB-8, but before he can figure out a plan, Rey attacks him so she can prove her loyalty to him. But she quickly becomes friends with Finn as soon as she thinks he's part of the Resistance too. She supposedly waited for her parents on this planet for her entire life. but leaves as soon as she becomes friends with some Resistance members. Pay attention to how eager Rey is to find the map to Luke in the Resistance base.
If I'm taking you there, I need to know.
She asks about them in almost every scene.
So where's your base?
We have to get him back to your base, and he has to get back to your base.
This droid has to get to the Resistance base as soon as possible.
Why does an orphan scavenger from Jakku care about the map to Luke or the Resistance base? And Rey is really good with a staff, blaster, lightsaber. She's a great pilot, and she has a wide range of skills, both practical and in the Force. Mary Sue, or well-trained Sith spy? She has a real easy time in making friends and getting people to trust her too. It's almost like she can use mind tricks.
Finn is with the Resistance. I'm just a scavenger.
We know Kylo isn't talking to Vader here, because Anakin turned to the light side. And we know that mental manipulation is one of Snoke's special abilities, so who do you think he's talking to here? Rey's force powers kick in and she senses light side energy coming from Luke's lightsaber. She decides to run away because she already saw the location of Luke. She's obviously trying to run away here.
I'm leaving.
Kylo doesn't know Rey's working for Snoke, but this is all part of the plan so she doesn't fight back. Even though 5 minutes later she shows that she's obviously strong enough to fight back. Kylo gets too close to the truth of who she is, so she uses her superior force powers to push him out of her mind. Back at the Resistance base, Finn, a low-level janitor, just so happens to know how to blow up Starkiller Base. Even though a human janitor in a world where sentient robots exist is a bit strange, it's almost like it's a cover story. Kylo still doesn't know who Rey is, so he tries to stop her before she escapes, so she clumsily pretends to not know how to fight. This forces her to show her power level, but she holds back because Snoke doesn't want Kylo dead, and she still has a mission to complete that involves Kylo. The Last Jedi starts right where The Force Awakens left off. The Resistance attacks because they think the First Order is vulnerable after losing Starkiller Base, but this is yet another misdirection by Snoke. He doesn't care about the Resistance, he only wants Luke to come out of hiding. But the war keeps things chaotic because
Chaos is a ladder.
But he lets the Resistance think they're in control. For a moment. But the Resistance falls right into his trap. But instead of destroying them right away, Hux is told to hold back so he can give his spy a chance to complete her mission. If the Resistance gets destroyed, Luke has no reason to come out of hiding. But if he believes he can save everyone, he might try and face Snoke himself. Rey tries to give Luke his old lightsaber, but he knows the dark side works in mysterious ways, so he outright rejects what he's seeing as real. Maybe it's a Force vision, an illusion brought on by years of near isolation, or a trap by the dark side of the Force itself. It wasn't until he saw Chewbacca that he realized it was all real. Rey tries to convince Luke to come out of hiding. This is her whole mission. Snoke needs him to leave the planet for some reason. But Luke can feel something isn't right with Rey. The First Order slowly picks the Resistance apart, hoping that Luke will feel their pain and come to save them. But then something happens that Snoke didn't anticipate, something that he can't allow to happen. The bridge is blown up, and Leia is thrown out into space. Snoke needs Leia to stay alive because she has such a strong connection to Luke, and if she dies, he might completely give up hope. So he uses his immense force powers to wrap her in a protective bubble and push her back to the ship. Rey's training is all fake, she's just trying to get Luke to trust her. But Rey unexpectedly finds that there's a great dark side presence beneath the island, so she tries to use it to get into Luke's mind. But he's blocked off from the Force, and it almost blows her cover.
You went straight to the dark. You didn't even try to stop yourself.
You've closed yourself off from the Force.
Why is she trying to get into his mind here? Rey understands that she won't convince Luke to leave, but her failure opened up an opportunity for Snoke. So she goes to the dark side place and opens up a bridge with Snoke and the island. A back door where he can sneak in a trap for Luke. Just as Snoke pretended to be a Force Ghost Vader, he can now prey on Luke's fear and pretend to be Yoda. This isn't the real Yoda, this is all Snoke's creation. And his creation is trying to convince him to leave the island and save his friends, just like Rey did. Somewhere along the line, Finn switched sides and stopped feeding info to Phasma. Rey's pretty relaxed as she walks into Snoke's throne room. It's almost like she's not even in danger. And if you notice, Rey is dressed like a Sith now that she thinks her mission is over. And as I mentioned earlier, she is noticeably more aggressive now that she's not pretending to be a scavenger anymore. And when Snoke offers praise to his apprentice, the camera stays focused on Rey, not Kylo.
Faithful apprentice, my faith in you is restored.
All of this is just a show. It's a final test before Kylo faces Luke, but Rey isn't in any danger here. Just like Palpatine gave Luke an open shot, Snoke won't let him kill Rey. Think about this. If your apprentice was beaten by a person who had never held a lightsaber, would it be a better test of his skill to A, give her a lightsaber so they can fight to the death, or B, hold her down while he executes her? But Snoke underestimated Kylo, because while he was inside of Rey's head, he saw something, and he realized that Snoke was manipulating him to kill Luke. So he pretended to be weaker than he really was so Snoke would let his guard down. His death was unexpected and the Red Guards don't know who Rey is, so she has to temporarily join Kylo to survive. After the fight, Kylo still doesn't know who she is, so he tries to convince her to join him. But she knows Snoke is clever and very powerful in the Force, and she wonders if this all might actually be a test for her. So she tries to kill Kylo. Maybe Snoke's death was all some elaborate hallucination, or part of the plan he hadn't told her about. So she goes back to pretending to be Rey from Jakku,